Joyce Donato, who wowed us all at Covent Garden when she sang it. So that's the recording from the Orchestra of Santa Cecilia in Rome with Eduardo Muller. Well, Miss Donato has just stepped off the aeroplane from Kansas City, where everything's up to date, as it should be. And here she is, glittering across the table from me with some diamonds on already. Or perhaps they're rhinestones.
I think they might be more crystals. But...
Okay, they're crystals. Anyway, it's lovely to have you here. And you're going to sing at the last night of the proms, which is tremendous.
I can't wait. I've been counting down for months with this. I have to tell you, 15 years ago, I signed with my manager, Simon Goldstone. He's been my singular manager for all this time. He took me when I was a nobody and I couldn't, get hired to do anything. And he said, one of these days you're going to sing the last night of the proms. And I looked at him, I said, the last night of what? And he said, no, trust me, one day it's going to happen. And then once I found out what it was, I thought, Simon, you're crazy. That'll never happen to me. So this really actually, it feels like an unbelievable dream come true. And it seems impossible in only 15 years that we were able to actually make that happen.
Well, the trajectory has been absolutely stellar. I mean, you're sensational, but I mean, that's wonderful. But is it true that someone said at a competition years ago, and I think even in London, you have nothing to offer artistically?
Yes, but you know what? It's one of the best things that ever happened to me. And the judge absolutely was not incorrect in saying that, because I was in the mindset of being the perfect singer. I was very well coached. I was very well prepared. And I arrived on that stage doing what was right and what was correct. And as I've thought about it over the years, it's one of the best gifts that ever could have happened to me, because I thought, I'm not sure what I want to say when I go out there, other than wanting to be correct. And I think that shift in my mentality and my artistry has been partly, I think, the reason that I've come into my own, is that I've through that process and other processes as well, I've been able to discover what my voice actually is.
Yeah, well, you have to be able to let go. Your personality has to shine through after a while.
I think at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to see who that artist is on the stage, whether it's a pianist or violinist or conductor or singer. We want to hear what they have to say. It's not about just hearing Beethoven 9 again or Tanti Affetti again. We want to hear it fresh through the perspective of that artist.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did it, but that Rossini, of course, suits your voice brilliantly, and you can do anything. We feel so assured watching you sing music like that, because we know you can take risks. And it's all going to be okay, because the bedrock is absolutely sound as a bell.
Oh, well, thank you, Sean. Sometimes it does depend on the night. I hope Saturday is a good night. But what I think is important about that idea of risk-taking and letting it go, that entails for the audience to be able to sit there and listen and not know what's going to come next. So they can tune in even to music that they've heard before. When it's done in this kind of in-the-moment, fresh way, it sounds as if it's being composed on the spot, if we're doing our job correctly. Yeah.
Well, I better ask you now, because I'll forget, but I won't forget, because everybody wants to know what you're wearing on Saturday night. Are you wearing Vivienne Westwood, is it true?
Dame Vivienne has done some extraordinary gowns for me. I actually came from
Gowns? I haven't heard that word for a very long time.
Oh, really? What do you call them?
Well, I don't know. Dresses? Frocks?
Gowns. These are
gown.
gowns. And they are extraordinary. I just had a fitting today, so I've seen sketches. I helped choose the material, but I haven't actually put them on. And, I'm still a little breathless.
Well, she has a reputation for being quite, shall we say, individual. So are they going to be strange, striking?
They are going to be glamour, totally surpassing what I think the proms expects and desires. There's a bit of sparkle and bling involved in the gowns. Timeless, but there's always a twist that is Vivienne Westwood that, makes it, you look at it a slightly different way. And, she has such a love for classical music and concerts. And I think the art form you really sense that this is somebody who loves this platform.
And you're going to be drenched in diamonds, I gather.
So they tell me. Chopard is going to dress me with diamonds,
so
and
diamonds
I can't wait.
are even if you're a fantastic singer, diamonds are still quite friendly.
Aren't they? I told my manager, I was like, don't let me hold on to them. You're going to have to make sure that I give them back. But no, this is as glamorous as it gets, and I plan on having a wonderful time.
Oh, no, yes, listen, it's the time when everybody lets go at the last night of the proms. I mean, of course, the music has to be excellent, but everybody sort of lets go, and there's a hugely festive sort of feel.
I mean, really, is there anything else like this in the world? It's a total it's kind of a classical rave in modern day terms, and this real celebration. I mean, and this has been, I think it must have been one of the most successful prom seasons in a long time. I mean, I was following it on my laptop and following it afar, but it was an extraordinary success. So to be given the chance to crown that at the end, I'm incredibly honored.
Miss Klein and I will be nodding at you from our radio box, so
lovely.
Expect an obeisance every
I'll
now and
tug
again.
my ear for
just
you.
tug one jewel would be quite enough. Well, you're singing Handel. We can just hear a little Handel from you next from Cersei, Crede Furi. So it's a raging moment from Cersei, isn't it? In his eternal attempt to get the right woman or the wrong woman.
Absolutely. Saturday night I'll be doing the more calm Cersei aria of Ombra Mai Fu, but this is when, all the forces of hell are unleashed through the voice.
Aspergetevi totovi, aspergetevi, crudi furi degli orridi abissi, aspergetevi totovi, quest'iro che spira il mio seno, quest'iro che spira nel seno, che spira nel seno,
From Handel's opera Circe, King Circe in an absolute rage, Les Talents Lyriques, Christophe Rousset, and of course Joyce Di Donato. Well, she'll be singing music from Circe at the proms, last night of the proms on Saturday, but it's much calmer. It's Ombra Mai Fu, so you'll just sit there and be enchanted. And when you were listening to that, you said, oh, I would do that differently if I was recording it again. But I'm sure every artist must say that, mustn't they?
We must, because, we're constantly in a state of flux, and hopefully in a positive state of flux. And I hear that now, and the Tanti Affetti earlier, and I think, oh, I do that very differently now. But I think it's important that we let those things that we've decided to encapsulate for posterity, excuse me, that we let those be little fingerprints.
It's a Freudian slip.
Right. Fingers crossed. That we let those sit and be representative of a fingerprint in time for us as an artist at that moment. But it is hard. It's hard to listen to myself in that regard.
Kansas, of course, hometown, and I mean, Kansas Opera you were good to it. It was good to you. When did the big break come, though, from there? When was there a moment? Can you look back and see a moment
Sean,
when
do you know,
the curtain parted?
It's really been a series of, at the beginning, slow, but then more steady domino falls. There wasn't one breakout performance. There wasn't, I think maybe we've talked about this before. I did a big audition tour. I did 13 cities in 16 days before anybody here knew my name.
See, that requires enormous stamina and enormous youth. Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure I can do that now. But and you're blind. I had no idea what was in store for me. I got 12 no's, and the 13th was a yes from the Paris Opera. Was that the big break? Well, it got me in the door to some big houses, but it didn't launch me into superstardom. It was another domino leading to me where I am today. So mine has really been a case of slow and steady wins the race, trying to always rise to the occasion when opportunity came. But there hasn't been, it wasn't Traviata at Salzburg Festival like for Netrebko, or it wasn't Brian Eno just, has stepped in at the Met in Les Troyens. I didn't have that kind of a moment.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? But this because you've arrived, and as I said before, the Rossini, the critics ran out of superlatives for your bellissimo canto. Just extraordinary. Was that where you always saw yourself, or do you think the voice will change and you might want to do slightly different repertoire?
No, I will not pigeonhole myself and say I'll never sing X, Y, or Z. But I think I'm very...
That's Z, listeners,
Oh,
by
Z,
the way,
excuse me.
Divided by a common language, they do say.
X, Y, or Z. But I've always listened to my voice. I haven't been afraid to step outside of the box and take a few calculated risks. I think that's important as an artist. But I've always been true to the voice. And I think in these last couple of years, going into Maria Stuarda, Romeo and Capuletti, these kind of roles, I've been stretching my walls a little bit, my vocal boundaries, and it's working. So I think I'm going to stay in that regard in terms of always coming back to the bel canto, but growing up a little bit in those roles.
Well, we're going to hear you and see you in Maria Stuarda at Covent Garden, I think, next year.
Yes.
Very exciting. It's wonderful. You are Mary, Queen of Scots, aren't you?
Yes.
You're the wronged queen.
I'm absolutely. I had the most extraordinary hour of my life this past spring when I was here. I had the chance to sit down with Dame Janet Baker for an hour and go into talk. And one of the things I'll never forget ever, and I'm telling young singers about this, I asked her about what the power of music was to her. And she was, of course, incredibly humble and gracious and eloquent. And she said, I really can't talk about how music affected the audience because I'm not them. But she said, I can tell you how I looked at my job as a singer. She said, I felt that I was a plate of glass through which the music and emotion was exported, that would travel through. My job as a singer is to keep that plate of glass clean. So no streaks, no smudges, no scratches. And I just thought that's an extraordinary way to look at it, because when I fast forward to singing Mary, Queen of Scots on the stage of the Royal Opera House in London, I mean, that's an incredibly enormous task, and it's incredibly humbling. And if I can get into that frame of mind that she so eloquently stated, it's a chance to tell this story according to Donizetti, and to let the people whose history this is actually firsthand experience the emotional journey of her.
Yeah, you've got it right, but you've got your feet on the ground like Dame Janet had. I mean, she's amazing and extraordinary. Woman's 80 the other day. Absolutely couldn't believe
Happy
it.
birthday again.
Happy
One of
birthday
the
again,
greats.
Dame Janet. Just, you hear that voice and you know it's her.
One note. That's all you need.
Yeah. Well, how do you keep your feet on the ground? Because now you are so fated. Everybody wants a bit of Joyce DiDonato. The world is your proverbial oyster, if you like oysters.
I do. I drown myself in diamonds every chance that I can, Sean. My friends at Chopard. A lot of what has helped me is this relationship that I fostered with my fans. So I never lose track of who's listening and why they're listening. They're so generous in writing to me and telling me how music has changed their lives, how music has been a necessity in their lives. That keeps me in my place, absolutely. That it reminds me all the time that I'm a servant to this. And I foster my dear relationships, my old friendships that have been around for now decades. My family is extremely important to me. And I get out there and I try to do other things. You know what I did this summer? I was in Santa Fe. I took kickboxing.
Oh.
I was a kickboxing.
Okay, right. Don't mess with her.
But
Don't
part
mess
of it,
with the diva.
No, I don't know that a soprano would do that, but a mezzo soprano could. So I try and go out there and make sure that I'm experiencing life alongside the stage experience.
You've got it cracked, I think. Absolutely. Joyce, it's wonderful to have you with us. And I know you're going to be singing Over the Rainbows, Good Kansas Girl, the last night on Saturday. But you did it for us when you scooped up at the Groundfin Awards in 2010. So as you're going to have the full orchestral thing on Saturday, we thought we would have the performance that you and Antonia Papano gave in this studio.
Oh, lovely.
And that was really nice. That was a real treat. And if you want to hear a classy way to sing Over the Rainbow, this is it.
Upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why
She could fly over a rainbow if she wanted to. Joyce DiDonato, who was with me, and Antonia Papano on the piano from this very programme on In Tune in October 2010, when she swept the boards of the Gramophone Awards over the rainbow. Pretty classy. She'll be singing it again on Saturday night with a full orchestra, but try and beat that. I think it's going to be very difficult. Joyce DiDonato, last night of the proms with her wonderful